Morning everybody, welcome to May. It's gone colder again. We've had some really lovely weather in April and now it's May. It's gone colder again. The boys as usual are eating their breakfast. Tommy's just finished and I've got into the habit of, while they're eating their breakfast, I make up their nets for the evening, so they're horsage nets, and I put Tommy's in so he has a little munch of it while Basil's finishing his breakfast and while I'm changing Basil's rug and thing, and that's plenty. So he's got 2 cakes in there of horsage and he just about eats it. Sometimes he leaves a little bit, don't you, Thomas? He's looking a little bit round, so he's on restricted grass now, aren't you, Tommy? So I've had to separate them, which is always a bit, I much prefer it when they're together, but Tommy really needs his grazing restricted and Basil doesn't yet. Although they're both only in half the field, so half the field's growing like crazy, so I'm not sure what we're going to do with that. But we will see. And Basil is here, aren't you, Basil? Munching away. So he's just got a little thin rug on now, and it is a bit cold, but he has all got his summer coat now, so that's just a little extra layer while he's in the stable, not doing much. And he's wearing a thinner rug when he's in the field now as well, aren't you? Yes. So I've got a few little jobs planned for today. I'm not sure if it's going to rain later. I'm hoping not. And we're going to go for a nice hack. I did the big mucking out yesterday, so I haven't got to worry about that. Yeah, so I'm going to get on and do the stables and stuff after I've put them out, and I'll see you in a bit. I thought I'd just show you the difference between these two stables in the morning, because I know Tommy's smaller than Basil. Tommy's stable is a bit smaller than Basil's. Tommy's stable is 12 by 12 and Basil's is 12 by 14, but there's quite a difference to what they do. This is Tommy's stable. Nice and tidy, really. Very easy to muck out. Doesn't take long at all to get the poo out in the week. He makes a bit of a mess with his hay. Drops a little bit. Not too bad. And this is Basil's stable. At first glance, it looks not too bad, does it, on this side? Because he sleeps over there. There's a flat bit where I think he sleeps. Nearly always sleeps on the side there. But then you start looking over here, and he just mixes it all in. Not always. Sometimes there's just some nice piles, but mostly he just mixes it in by walking around. I suppose you can see where he walks around there, and where he stands most of the night to eat his hay. But he's a very messy boy. I think actually just Tommy's very tidy, and it's not Basil. Basil's fairly average. Anyway, see you in a bit. The boys are out now having a nice time. You can see Tommy's sort of in a section of the field, and Basil's got a bigger section over there, and then that's the bit we're resting, which is quite a big bit. I'm munching away. Tommy's still finding really plenty to it, and because we've had some rain this week as well, the grass will, although it's cold again, but I think the grass will grow again if it gets warmer. When you walk around the field, this Basil's got absolutely plenty. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on him a little bit as well, which is, you know, partly why they're not in all of the field, but partly so that I can do some treatment on that field, that side of the field, and give it a rest, which is good for it as well, for the worms and everything else. Horseworms, that is, and everything else. Like I said, there's a couple of jobs I want to get done today. So in here, obviously we used to have a lot of hay. Now I've got the horsage. At the moment, I'm having to go a lot to buy it. I can only fit about a week's worth in the car at a time, so, and then I can't buy shavings as well. So I'm looking at options for that at the moment, whether I can get a big load delivered here or something, but I think it has to be on a pallet, and then I don't know if you can, if they have a pallet truck on the back of their lorry, because we don't have any way of getting pallets. Anyway, so what I've been doing is I've been cleaning around the walls as I could access them. So I've done all the way around here and all the way around here, and I've got to here. So you can see where I've got to. I hope you can tell the difference between where I've done and where I've got to. So I've just cleared this pallet today because the next lot of haulage is on that pallet. Well, I might have moved a cake. So I'm going to clear this section of wall now. I've got 2 bales of hay left, which I think I have somebody who's got guinea pigs is going to have. So then I'll be able to do that section. And then at some point I'll to move everything away from here to do this side of the wall as well. So I'm just going to brush down that wall now, and then that will look better, that section, hopefully. The haulage is going down really well actually. I wasn't sure that Basil was going to eat it when I first bought it. He was a bit hesitant, but he's eating it fine now. He doesn't eat a huge amount. He's having about 3 cakes a night, and he's not quite eating it all. Tommy's having 2 sections a night and mostly eats it. So that's interesting because Basil's, you know, quite a bit bigger than Tommy. I don't give it to them in haulage nets. I'm not sure if I mentioned before, but I tried Basil first in his haulage net, and then when he wasn't eating it, I decided it was because he's ground his front teeth down quite a bit because of his crib biting, wind sucking. I decided he couldn't get his teeth in a little hole, so I've given him a bigger hay net again, and then he was a bit not sure to start with when he was getting hay and haulage, but then he did start to eat it. And Tommy, to be honest, I've just given it to him in a big hay net from the beginning, and actually he hasn't rushed through it. I've been quite impressed. When he first comes in, he has some mouthfuls, and then he usually has a little sleep. He's very routine oriented, Tommy. But the other thing with him is, I wrote a blog last week about how personalities have changed since we lost Chesney, but also there's been a change since I've been feeding haulage, because Tommy now comes straight in. He's absolutely no problem to get in at all. Comes right up and is happy to come in, and in fact he really can't get into his stable fast enough to eat his apples in his tiny little bit of chaff and then eat his haulage, and he's ever so funny. So that's a good thing. So they seem really keen on it now. I was worried to start with, so let's hope it carries on, and let's hope they don't have a shortage of it, because then that will be a problem. Anyway, I'm going to get on and clean this up now. So you can probably hear the swallows have arrived 3 weeks ago. Can't remember exactly now. I did write it down so that I could compare it for next year. But they've arrived, and there's quite a lot of them. And as usual, they're making a mess. Now, I did get a bit organised in advance this year and get some black plastic sheeting. So I've covered up some stuff in there. The rugs on the floor at the front here are ones that are a couple more Chesneys that I wanted to get washed. And I contacted the lady who did them all last year, and she's stopped doing it. So now I've got to find someone else to wash them and reproof the rugs and stuff. So they're sitting there, the ones that of Chesneys that still need doing. So that's a bit of a mess in there. And then in here, this is my to throw away pile, an unrepairable pile. I have got some plastic over them, and then just a couple of bags over the ones that they're wearing, or Basil is wearing on and off. But I've not put them in a very good place, because as you can see, they've already made a big mess on there, and I think probably I've put them under the beam, and they like sitting on the beam. So I need to move them. And what I've decided is now the horses are on haulage, obviously I'm not steaming hay for Basil every day, so I've got this box. Now, I am denied about putting the rugs in the box, but I don't think I'm going to, because if mud falls off the rugs, it's really difficult to get it out because it gets all caught under the lip. Hay gets all caught under the lip in there anyway, so I'm not going to put them in, but I think what I'm going to do is put them on the top, and then because it's on wheels I can move it around very easily. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to position it somewhere different in there, away from that beam, where they obviously sit a lot. So they generally have their nests in the same place every year. So if you remember, which you probably do, they have one up in the top corner inside the feed room, then they usually have one on the beams between those two, and then they have these up here as well between Basil and Tommy, and then they usually have one right at the top there. I'm amazed there's only 2 in here, to be honest, this year. I think the amount of swallows there are, I think there might be one sitting up there. I think it's going to be too dark to see. I think there's a swallow sitting up there now. Anyway, I'm amazed there's only one nest, because there seems to be a lot more than 2 swallows coming in and out of that door when I go in there. Anyway, so I'm going to try and have another rearrange in there to try and limit the amount of mess, because obviously the floor I can wash, which is not too difficult, but once it's on the rugs it's horrible. So I'm going to do that now. There are winter rugs, so Basil's winter rugs and Tommy's 2 winter rugs that he didn't wear at all this year because we really didn't have any bad weather, so I've moved them along a bit. I mean, it doesn't matter if the bird's made a mess on the plastic, but if I can limit it, it's less to clear up later. So that's them done. Basil's got a rug wet on Thursday or Friday. Well, he got one wet both days, but he's wearing the other one at the moment. So that one's hanging up on our nice rack here. So I've just got to organise a spot then for that one to go, because now it's dry. And his 2 thinner ones. This one is his 100-gram with a neck. He's wearing his 100-gram without a neck today, and then he's got his 2 rain sheets down here. Obviously I don't want to make inaccessible, so they are now on my huge cotton reel, which I think had electric cable on a long time ago. Keeps them off the floor, which I don't always manage to do, but it's always nice to keep them off the floor. So I think I will pile that other one on the top of there, and then I've got this plastic bag to go on there. And I think then that's probably organised, and I just need to get rid of this pile of unrepairable rugs then at some point. Taking them to the tip, I expect. Anyway, that's that done. So the other things I want to do today, which are fairly normal jobs, poo picking, and then I'm going to take Basil out for a hack. So I was really hoping the sun was going to come out, but it's not looking very hopeful today. I'll update you in a little while. I've finished the poo picking, cleared the field. 3 barrows a week seems to clear the field, so that's a good thing. Basil did a poo straight away. I'm going to ride now. Tommy seems to know that's what's going to happen. I thought Basil might come, but he's not coming. Anyway, so I'm going to take Basil out for a hack. I did think it looked like it was going to rain a minute ago, but hopefully we'll be alright. Such a funny pony. So hopefully Basil will come and I won't have to go and catch him. So I'm going to get everything organised and I will update you when we get back. Well, we had a nice ride and I just put Basil out and they just run straight off down the field. So I was hoping to get closer up picture. But they just both trotted off down the field. That we negotiated a digger in the drive next door to go out, and then we negotiated dogs barking by the fence up the lane. But he was very good, a bit speedy. We're still a bit speedy. We did a little bit of jogging and some very fast walking on the way home, but actually we did some pretty fast walking on the way out as well. So I've put him out without his rug on, so I hope it's not going to rain. As long as it doesn't rain, he should be warm enough. It's a bit chilly, but I think he'll be fine as long as it doesn't rain. It's when it rains he gets cold. He's a right wuss. Anyway, so that's it for this morning. I'm going home for some lunch and to do some jobs, and then we will be back to tuck them in later. So I'll see you then. Right, I've just got back and I've just stopped the car, and there's Basil. And there's Basil. Oh no, and there's Tommy. This horsage is amazing effect on these two monkeys. Makes life very easy not having to go and catch them all the time. They just come to the, well, Basil comes to the gate. Tommy can only come to where he's got his own little gateway. I better mix their dinner then. So we've been practicing catching Tommy because he's separate to Basil. I can mostly, or sometimes, catch him over by his gate and put his head collar on. I had to start off very slowly again, but just touching him with it and things, and putting a polo and it giving him a polo. Then I managed to catch him quite a few days in a row. In the middle of last week I couldn't catch him again, but I've just caught him now, and I think it's probably that he doesn't like me wearing a coat. I think it must wear must be a bit too big and fat going up by his eye or something. I don't know. But that's the only difference I can think between today and yesterday and the other day, is that I haven't got a coat on again today. But it's good to try and keep him in the routine. Obviously every morning he had his head collar put on to lead him out to the field. But he's not easy in the field at all to even really get near. I can just about give him a polo and touch his top of his neck, but if I try to touch his shoulder or anything, he jumps away. I'm not sure if he's worried he's going to be caught and come in, or if it's other fears that he still has, but it's not a big deal. He's always just followed the others in, and we've got a bit of a knack with a long bit of electric fence that we just gently encourage him towards the gate if he really won't come in at any time. But since we've been feeding, or since I've been feeding him the horsage, it's not an issue. Right, the water buckets are going to overflow, Tommy. Boy. Very nice. They both had a brush. Tommy's got a bit of a muddy mane, haven't you? But we managed to comb it and make it look a bit smarter. Your forelocks look smart anyway, doesn't it? It does. And give him a bit of a brush with the rubber curry comb, really, just trying to help him get rid of all his last bits of coat. He's still got quite a bit on his body, to be honest, haven't you? Haven't you? You're so funny. You're so funny. Look at your teeth, they're so grubby. They're so grubby. Oh, you're so funny. Hello. Will you do that as well? No, you're just trying to lick my fingers, don't you? So Basil's had a brush as well, and he's just wearing this thin rug at night now, aren't you? Hey, like I said this morning. What handsome boys. That's it then, all tucked up for the night. So I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching and take care. Bye.